Alright, my boys, it's been a while since I've sat down and filmed one of these, and I'm only a little bit late to this one. But Dean of Doom, The Lost Episodes, Firefly, I'm sure it didn't get cancelled in any way. Get it? Because Firefly got cancelled. I've never seen Firefly, actually. I don't even know if it's any good. But anyway, it's been a while, so let me see if I remember my whole intro here. Mount Pain 27 has given me consent to make this video. If you've not seen the original, turn me off! Go to his channel. Go watch it there first. The man deserves your view before you watch it here. Enough spinning, let's do this. Is it? Yeah, I thought so. Try that again, shall we? Is this the school? This is definitely the school.
Oh, hello there, and welcome to...
Is that the intro for the Lost Episodes? I haven't watched this in months, so I do not remember if that was the intro or not.
Lost Episodes of Dean of Doom, where we explore the Doom community's deepest reaches. Today's episode will be dedicated to Firefly, a 7-map challenge WOD released by Eater29 in 2024. Firefly was originally conceived as a Stardate 20xd6 homage, complete with green to purple palette swaps, but became a predominantly orange set after Eater had to choose a new theme to accommodate Ramp 2023,
Halloween.
to which this set's map 1 was also submitted. After the standalone Mudman, Firefly was Eater29's debut project, which makes the virtuosity of its combat and art direction all the more impressive. This is the fruit of a generation raised on optimized slaughter and high-performance visuals, and it makes its inspirations and target audience clear from the word go. If you're the type to seek relief from life in the bosom of Sunder, Sunlust, or Abandon, then you'll cozy right up to Firefly.
It looks
Standard
amazing.
Doom rules for this one. No need to recap, let's just get into the action. I played Firefly with DSDA Doom due to its MBF21 compatibility. Now to the WOD. Map 1, Twilight Constriction. I can feel the heat coming off my computer screen already.
It bothers me that it's not orange up here. I don't know, maybe that's just me.
This Caldera compound has the blood of slaughter legends pumping through it, decked out in heavy metal slabs and fiery grooves, all baked in orange light. Get used to it.
It looks like
lets you pull the
Sunlust/Sunder. It straight up just looks like that.
Starting gun trigger, but that's a tiny courtesy. In introducing its maker's martial code, Twilight Constriction will absolutely filter people. Eater loads you with rockets and urges you to unlearn trigger discipline, because the space between you and the claws that catch isn't going to clear itself. Archviles appear in nearly every fight of consequence, poofing out of thin air as if spontaneously generated by the biome. Thankfully, this being map 1, some degree of sloppiness is allowed, witnessed by tactless spray and pray and this
Dude, it's a piss rifle! It's a piss rifle! Hell yeah, it's a piss rifle!
Cave fight. A win's a win. No Ribik's disciple can seem to do without Cyber Jr. these days, but it's his papa.
Dude, it's a piss Cyber Demon! Yo, it's a piss Cyber Demon!
Can seem to do without Cyber Jr. these days, but it's his papa's surprise arrival.
I'm not gonna make the piss joke every 10 seconds, I promise.
That will leave Twilight Constriction's brand on your backside. A BFG, a Megasphere, and 2 Soul Spheres are not excessive compensation for the final fight. Foreknowledge can't guarantee good Cyber Revenant infighting, and the Cacos and Hell Nobles become dangerous potshot artists when the skeletons have got your full attention. This fight is meant to broil you, and as a repeat challenge WOD relapser, I can attest to the sweet high that a sudden jolt of overkill brings.
It looks
the
like
only
fun.
thing clunky about Twilight Constriction is its on-the-nose title. This is refined Doom engineering. Grade A, difficulty A. Map 2, Firefly. This map personifies the sensei unimpressed by his pupil's first success. It's a regimen of hard lessons and swift comeuppances set to an Eastern-flavored MIDI that focuses the mind. Defeat the Demon Dojo trainees, grab some weapons, and get ready for your first test. The zagging troughs on this floor might seem designed only to gather your blood as revenants tear you to pieces, but use your senses. The adjacent room opens as soon as the fight starts, and you're better off in a Hell Noble turf war than an Archvile-led Danse Macabre. I did manage to beat this fight without entering the cow pasture.
Is that how you say that?
than an Archvile-led Danse Macabre. I did
I've only ever seen that written. I've never heard that spoken before. Interesting, never knew that.
manage to beat this fight without entering the cow pasture, but only by brute stubbornness. The next fight I love to bits. It's a two-parter that's half hack and slash and half Rocket Ronin proving ground. When the Meatball's laser cage opens, kiss your breathing room goodbye.
Yeah, this looks like modern Slaughter. Soon I'll get a taste. At the time of filming this, I'm pretty close to
It's made my
playing Stardate and Swim with the Whales, so I know that's something of a precursor to the Slaughter WODs of today, so I'm really interested to see what those WODs play like, but this pretty much looks like what I would envision any Slaughter WOD to be like, of like the Ribixian era.
my life better to turn the other cheek to all pain elemental related treachery. Even with the plasma rifle that any key unlocks, I consider the orange path slightly harder than the red path. This searing shoreline crossfire brings fractured worlds to mind for difficulty and aesthetic reasons, and the follow-up encounters are harsh to those who shoot from the hip. The barons will shield you while you tread imps in the first part, and I find it's best not to let the fella with insta-kill potential live any longer than necessary.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciating the lamp decoration in the orange key antechamber unlocks a few courtesy rockets for the inevitable reprisal. I forgot Firefly had baby cyber demons until I replayed it for this episode, and I must have blocked them out of my memory because of fights like this closer. The messy full-court press of big bodies pegs the pressure gauge when 3
Pegs.
yellow goats and a bunch of revenants arrive. Unless you fastidiously guarded your megasphere in plasma, death will be whizzing past your ears.
Are the yellow cybers the mini ones, or are there actual, like, little cyber demons like in Strain?
And pumping out of the muzzle in front of you. No mistakes allowed. What Eater 29 borrows from Nirvana, Gazebo, and Rivix is borrowed with love and executed immaculately. Grade A,
Hell yeah.
difficulty X-. Map 3, Phosphor. It stands to reason that a Darkwave MIDI should score this map. Though Phosphor most prominently sources from Stardate 20XD6's 2 underground maps, Speed of Doom's co-author was godfather to Rivix's early work, and his legacy lives on through Firefly. Darkwave's brushstrokes are visible in these shiny hexacrystals, Eater's demon flash floods have his appetite for carnage, and Phosphor matches the dusky quietude of SOD's early even map slots. Bathed in deceptively gentle gemstone warmth, it's like Tangerine Nightmare by candlelight, and no less fierce. The first fight of note is straight out of the Stardate playbook. 3 pairs of archviles followed by a squall of revenants and rocket food and a hardwood-floored horseshoe. Without the plasma rifle, which you can get next door, you might be biting off more than you can chew. Weapons 5 and 6 in hand, we finally come to an Eater fight I don't like. This sneering duo will almost certainly take a pelt off you on first go, and maybe a lot more than one if the engine doesn't feel like granting an Archie stun or a moment before Baby starts shooting. The latter deserves a cheap death. Thanks, Orange Rock. From here, there's no turning back until the orange key is yours. This triple threat of cave dwellers will rend you limb from limb if you strike at the wrong regiment first. Take down the fastest, then the fattest, and you can make your getaway. After a plasma hootenanny and another clinic on juggling cyber hellnoble infighting, we come to a real tester. Eater saturates the orange key.
Hold on. Let me see that cyber
On
real quick.
juggling cyber hellnoble infighting, we come to a real
Okay, no, so the piss cybers are like the weaker ones. Okay, I see.
tester. Eater saturates the orange key battleground with Hell Knights, Barons, and Bacon, while a balcony of boneheads lays siege. It's an interesting setup, smothering you with grunts that incidentally also ward off the primary threat of revenant rockets. When you run out of cells or pinkies, it's time to make a move. Set in motion by a surprise teleport, the 2-part finale converts all the dread its abyssal view inspires into real danger. Clear the imp-clogged canyons and give yourself room to dance around the meatballs, vials, and distracted cyberdemon, then seize the BFG and get ready for the last act. It might be too late before you realize there aren't enough cells in that BFG to make a stand, so you better befriend those cyber rugrats before the revenants and cacos converge, or they'll be scraping pieces of you out of the floor cracks. Phosphor's inexorable build-up and seductive setting make it one of Firefly's most memorable maps. Grade A, difficulty
It looks like it bangs!
Map 4,
Looks very fun.
Derelict. Lean, pitiless, and ceaselessly intense, Derelict is the most pure-blooded Stardate 20XD6 relative in Firefly's roster, and consequently its most grueling map. The closing levels pack a higher intimidation factor, but Derelict wears you down with increasingly claustrophobic setups, white-knuckle platforming trials, and sucker punch reprisals. It can get demoralizing. In only 2 fights does Eater permit the player to revel in raw carnage, the one where we take the BFG for a spin, and the bloodbath on Derelict's motherboard. Somehow you have to set an internal stopwatch to shut the vials in the box with a chain gunner monsoon flaying the flesh from your face and a howling mob churning all around. Once the gold key lowers, you can squash the Firebringers with 4 skull switches. Almost every fight leading up to the main stage will get a B-side eviler than the first. Eater insidiously repurposes this tense cattle shootout for an Archvile harvest. The first room erupts in pain elementals and revenants just when you think you smell the barn, and unless you held onto a heap of cells, the vile swarm by the exit will just kill you. Even for this aesthetic, there are a few fights in this map I consider excessively hostile. I know you're supposed to distract him with a Hell Noble, but I resorted to bull rushing the yellow cyber here because I resent getting splattered or scratched to death waiting for a roll that makes him behave. The Revenant Dam Break that follows is a rare stub of the toe for Eater's imagination. The staircase you can use to save or pin yourself is the only device not beat to death here. I much prefer dying repeatedly to this slippery two-tiered assault of Revenants, Hell Knights, Vials, and my unwitting cyber accomplice. It seems my tolerance for defeat increases proportionally with an encounter's grandeur. It's the nickel and dime BS that gets my face red. Derelict
Yeah, that's fair. If it's very clearly a showstopper fight, it's a little more like, okay, whatever. But if it's just some little bullshit down a hallway or whatever on the way to the next major set piece, it's definitely... I get it. I absolutely get it.
Man's commitment and athleticism, and the reward of playing it should be self-evident for fans of Stardate 20XD6. It's got the look and delivery down pat. Grade A-, difficulty X.
All A so far.
5, Void Space Ballet. Ordinary men despair in the face of such unblinking hugeness, until Mark Clem's MIDI kicks in, of course.
What are Mark Clem's up to these days? Oh, his eyes are yellow down there.
By now, Eater has dispensed with all combat pleasantries and zeroed in on that perennial slaughter god aesthetic of monochrome, metal, and menace. In a realm so primitively obsessed with death, the singleness of color reflects our absolute concentration on survival. All that exists is the fire in our hearts, the darkness surrounding, and cold steel. I prefer Void Space Ballet's higher numbers to Derelict's higher temperature. Using the plasma as a melee weapon is still required, but bigger demon outfits need bigger spaces, and that means more available floor. When the game becomes about slipping past herds of hungry livestock for a devastating strike at the flank, or knifing through corkscrews of Revenant rockets until they draw Cybe's ire, that's when I'm in my happy place. There's a golden ratio of square footage, kill count, and firepower that allows me to surrender to the chaos and not beat myself up too much when I die. Eater hits this quotient several times in Void Space Ballet. This corridor squash gives you an underbelly of imps to carve through as the formations tear themselves apart. The yellow key arena's gushing orange slice teleporters rule out rocket launching in seconds, and the promised titular set piece will strip you of all inhibitions. Luckily, the tempestuous part of this fight will extinguish itself so long as you're pumping orange tracers toward the center and moving in a circle, but the dismount, involving rogue rockets, lost souls, and a bit of platforming, makes me very uneasy. The BFG emboldens Eater to construct wilder waves of demons upon which to set you surfing, amplifying the fickleness of fate. Case in point, the Archviles mixed into the skeleton and Caco blockade and the dogleg corridor make you gamble with every orange ball. The small platforming sequence right before the last hurrah is a metaphor for how to play this WAD. You can't think about how dangerous it is. You just have to go with the flow. In the final eruption, I thought about it 10 times. It's a pounding...
think about it. You just walk in the fight, you hit buttons, you kill things. You die, ooh, it's fine. Reload and do it again.
Rain of cyber demon rockets and a twisted thicket of limbs and jaws and fire. There's just no making sense of it.
Oh, Jesus.
That carpet of zombies.
So, question. That's very red. How do you decide, when you're making something like this, how do you decide which enemies to put and how many of each? Because they're all just gonna infight. So, like, I don't know, I don't understand how map makers are able to come to that decision of just, I'm going to put this many Revenants, you know, here that are gonna do this, and why it's that amount specifically, or why it's even a Revenant, why it couldn't be a Hell Knight or whatever, you know. I don't understand. It's just one of those mapping things. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it's why I don't think I'd be a very good mapper, because I would not be able to calibrate something like this at all.
That carpet of zombies at the front door was for the 10 Archviles that ring when you get the orange key.
And then,
bury them with BFG, deactivate the core shield control, and blow it all to hell. Grade A, difficulty X. Map 6, Atrophy. How can you tell when it's nighttime in a sunless land? Of all Firefly's little orange worlds, Atrophy has my favorite atmosphere. Jeremy Soul's drowsy nocturne sets the tone for a map defined by spaces between violence. I have not played Magnolia, which Eater cites as an influence, but the prevalence of pointy angles and total liberation from grid lines reminds me of Rubix's Wormwood maps. It's surprising how crooked everything looks from above, because at ground level the layout flows together with the certainty of a dreamer.
It looks like it goes straight
With the morning, if the morning ever came. Atrophy is a handsome place, but don't mistake it for a rest stop. Each weapon exacts a price, the exteriors are primed with turrets which imperil travel, and most of the meaty fights expect ballistic parsimony and good footwork. Sometimes you get lucky and infighting goes exactly how you want it to, but sometimes damage is unavoidable. In this artsy triple vial rush, a trickle of zombies and lost souls will gnaw on you while you work, serving as a timer and living obstacle. It's very unusual. Unlocking the southeast structure nukes the Cyberdemon turret, but also wakes up a Kako cluster and some vials unless you sneak into the building directly and nab the gold key first. The Red Skull becomes available once you find the other two, and thankfully it's more of a wind-down fight than a climactic ender. As usual, I pity the saveless, because the final fight's a knee-knocker at the break. If you can slip behind the Revenants, you've made it. My first playthrough of this map exceeded 2 hours, but most of that was spent on my hands and knees looking for secrets. The obsessive search for tiny switches and keycards made a Lotus Eater out of me, and I got hooked on testing which ledges led to stuff and which didn't. Eater makes the player draw their own conclusions about where they're allowed to go, and that sets up some euphoric moments purchased with long stretches of stumped.
If it's for progression, sure, but if I'm looking for a secret because I'm stuck, I'm just gonna get pissed off. I fucking hate secret hunting.
If you find all 6 keys, you don't get a trophy, but rather a bonus stage of baiting a real cyber with grandstands of Hell Knights and Revenants. It's about the journey, not the destination. I still don't know how to get that goofy, grinning health bonus, but I'm content to let one part of Atrophy stay a mystery. The slumbery narcotic of this map may never fully exit my bloodstream. Grade A, difficulty A+.
Yeah, all A's so far.
Syzygy, a cataclysmic
That's a made-up
alignment
word.
of insane gazebo, bemused in Eater's own murderous imaginings. Syzygy registers planet-splitting power on the Richter scale. This is right up my alley. I've beaten Old Sunder and toured Abandon twice, but even with the buildup of maps 1 through 6, I had to put Syzygy down midway to catch my breath. When the text file says could take over an hour to beat, it means in-game time. Recording my second playthrough took over 2 hours, and I had a number of fights go better than expected. There are no gimmies in Syzygy. Even the pauses between fights sometimes suffer evil interruptions, and it's not just the relentless doses of shell shock. There's something intrinsic to the visuals in these kinds of maps that takes a toll on you. Cascades of stair builder ceilings and floors, gaping arches, avalanches of blocks and hexagon crystals, explosions of pure color, smoldering oranges seeping and pulsing and scrolling through the iron-wrought exoskeleton of spaces vast enough to swallow the sound of gunfire.
It's like liquefied Dayquil everywhere.
It's exhausting just to
Dayquil and Cheetos!
look at, and that's without the demons in it.
That's a good thing, by the way. I like the color orange.
Get me wrong, individually these fights are delicious for the slaughter connoisseur. Designed to drown the uninitiated, the second fight clogs your safe space with Hell Knights while unleashing foot soldiers, flyers, and 2 cyber juniors outside. Embedding archviles in the rank and file has been an Eater staple throughout Firefly, but Syzygy is particularly brazen on that front. This cattle and chain gunner crossfire gets too hot to handle unless you snuff out the second pair of vials pronto, and the audacity of this grand hall procession takes me aback. 2 cybers, a whole court of Revenants on the stairs, an army of nobles backed by 4 vials, I think, a goddamn air raid, and some loose Macubi. This is all pre-BFG. It took me 10 solid minutes to save Scum victory in one fight I'd almost call filler because it's relatively small and undramatic. Revenants vie fiercely for attention with 2 pesky vials that invariably roast you with their first moves, and the Macubi, floaters, and jutting stuff make it difficult to move freely. My heart goes out to the poor saps who blunder the pain elementals in this platforming intermission. They missed a chance to blunder 3 dicey strafe jumps down the stretch. After that, you have only to endure 1 imp rocketing festival and a carousel crucible of boneheads and big mouths before the unveiling.
Uh-oh. Whoa, hello. I assume that's an invuln? That's a lot of cybers. That's a lot of everything. Oh, that's a sick
This
looking
is what
invuln.
faith rewarded feels like. Eater out-bemuses bemused in this decadent bloodbath. The invulnerability's rageful palette change renders it all the more glorious.
That looks
Your
so
BFG
good.
honeymoon won't last, unfortunately. After one more heaping harvest, you'll run smack into the biggest stumbling block in the WAD. It's Eater's favorite fight of the map, apparently. The super cramped room with wood floors and like 60 chain gunners. Yeah, and revenants, and cyber demons, and archviles, and hard-to-grab megaspheres. The pain of this room is transcendental, leaving such an ache that it almost erased my memory of the archvile S-curve and the second invuln fight after it, both of which would be headliners in a smaller, lesser map. Nothing can overwrite the ending, though. Red is the color of danger, but also domination. You have 3 rage spheres to uncork on the demon
close.
deluge, and I highly encourage saving one for the last thrust of cybers, pain elementals, and all those laser-caged vials. I didn't, because I'm not smart. Firefly's Ragnarok is a beautiful ode to Sunder's Hive Mother and abandons decayed Valhalla, and secures Eater 29 a throne among the Slaughter Elite. Grade A, difficulty
All
X.
A's.
Map 8. The Boundless Burning Sea.
Oh, we're not done yet.
Shipwrecked on a smoldering shore with nothing but a crate of oranges to eat, our fate is sealed. Turns out, death is citrus flavored. So, back
we
in
are done.
2023, when I played an early release candidate, Firefly gave me a much-needed shot of comfort after being immolated by one and losing my mind to Ultimate Doom in name only. That which once was considered the frontier of hard has become suburban, and it may sound odd, but Firefly makes me nostalgic for a time when WADs like it were considered unapproachable. The whole monolithic, foreboding, single-color thing has become familiar to many of us now, but Firefly revitalizes it instead of tiring it out, proving that you need not reinvent the wheel to deliver an Apex Doom experience. I love to see a new challenge WAD join the pantheon, overflowing with reverence for that which preceded it.
My face was like right up against the screen when that was happening, so I got a giant flash of red.
Very excited to see what Eater 29 comes up with next. My final grade for Firefly is an A. Difficulty-wise,
so.
this is not falsely advertised as difficult chaotic slaughter and will scorch diehards and initiates alike. It puts the X in Stardate 20XD6.
What is that in Celsius?
Now for my Dean's List. Valedictorian, Map 6, Atrophy.
I was gonna guess Syzygy.
Salutatorian, Map 3, Phosphor.
I was still gonna guess Syzygy.
Class President, Map 7.
Wait, what? Sorry, I spoke over you.
Salutatorian, Map 3, Phosphor, but they're all really good. Class President, Map 7, Syzygy, and WADs this good don't deserve a dunce cap. Thank you very much for watching, and please feel free to share your thoughts on the WAD down below. Before I go, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge my generous patrons. Aaron Allen.
Is there a post-credit scene that I ask every fucking time? There's a little bit right here.
Wandering Autumn Leaves, Why Bemo Not a Crab, and William Huber. Thank you. I appreciate you all.
Yes, sir!
This is Mount Pain 27, and I'll see you in the next episode of Dean of Doom.
Yeah! Well, that looks like fun. I love that invuln. That is such a cool invuln. Well done, Mount Pain. Great episode. Great episode. And allegedly Season 4 is on the horizon? Ooh la la. Well, I look forward to seeing that when that happens, whenever that may be. Well, alright. Good stuff there, Mr. Mount. Awesome video. Awesome WAD looking stuff. Yeah. Very excited for Season 4. Alright. Good night, friends.